I never thought I'd see the day someone actually set fire to a piece of paper on my own porch while cackling like a villain in some B movie, but yeah, that happened. And her name was Karen Wilkins. I can still see her immaculate pantsuit lipstick, perfect, standing right on my welcome mat, with that infamous Whispering Pines HOA violation letter pinched between her fingers, lighter in hand, like she was banishing evil spirits from the neighborhood or something. She leaned in, eyes wild, and hissed through her teeth. No one finds me absolutely certain she was the star of her own private drama. Meanwhile, my doorbell cam was catching every second in glorious HD. That footage would go on to end her reign, but let me back up a sec, because this little suburban saga started with what I thought was just another one of her ridiculous notices. A week before all that, I'd gotten one of those lovely letters in the mailbox, the kind that makes your stomach drop, just from the envelope. Big HOA logo stamped right in the corner, bold red ink, the works. Inside a violation notice and a $375 fine. According to Karen, I'd managed to commit 3 high crimes trash cans left out for 4 extra hours. My mailbox was painted desert beige instead of sandstone beige, and my garden hose was, and I quote, inappropriately coiled. I actually laughed out loud, standing there at the kitchen counter. I mean, I'm a structural engineer. I deal with actual safety codes, load-bearing walls, not the emotional distress of an uncoiled hose. But if you lived here, you'd know Karen's reputation was no joke. For 3 years, she ruled Whispering Pines like a suburban warlord in heels, always out before dawn, white Range Rover idling at the curb, clipboard in hand, scanning lawns and porches for anything less than perfect. Most folks just paid the fines easier than ending up on her list. The ones who fought back, let's just say you'd start finding weeds you didn't plant, letters about your lawn's tone, or worse, public shaming at the next HOA meeting. But I don't scare easy, especially not over paint swatches and trash cans. So I went digging, pulled up the HOA bylaws, which I keep in a battered folder just for moments like this. Turns out, for a fine to be legit, it needs approval from 2 board members, not just the president. Karen's notice, just her signature. And it clearly said a warning had to come first, unless it was a safety hazard. I hadn't gotten a single warning. I put all that in a nice, calm email to the board, attached photos of my perfectly compliant mailbox and my trash cans tucked away like a model citizen. I even offered to review the bylaws at the next meeting. Part of me figured, hey, maybe this'll finally make her back off. Ha! The next morning, 7:15 sharp, I'm barely awake, standing in my kitchen clutching coffee, and the doorbell rings. There's Karen Hare, not a strand out of place, face tight with anger. "We need to discuss your email," she snaps, like I'd accused her of embezzling millions, not just misreading the paint aisle at Home Depot. I tell her very calmly that I just cited the bylaws. She steps in close, real quiet, and says, "I've worked too hard to keep this community up. People like you think the rules don't apply. Keep pushing, and things will get very difficult for you." Then she glares at my garden hose. "Fix that hose. It's tacky," and storms off. I'm just left there, half-dressed, coffee going cold, wondering if I'd just been threatened over a garden accessory. That night I sent another email, this time a little less polite. 2 board members replied, admitting they'd had their own run-ins with Karen. I wasn't alone. So at the next meeting I lay out my case, and shockingly a bunch of neighbors back me up. The vote goes 4-1, my fine's voided. Karen gathers her papers like she's hiding state secrets and storms out, face red as a stop sign. I thought, okay, that's it. Maybe she'll finally cool off. Not a chance. 2 days later, there's another envelope in my mailbox. Certified this time with a shiny new $500 fine miraculously. This one's got a second signature, except it's clearly forged. The A in Michael's name was backwards. So, of course, I emailed the board again, and this is when my phone starts buzzing like a wasp nest. My neighbor Sylvia texts, "Check the neighborhood group. Now." I open up the page, and there it is, a video clip going viral. Karen standing on my porch, holding my fine notice in one hand, lighter in the other, cackling like she's starring in a soap opera. I watch her torch the paper and stomp the ashes, all the while ranting, "No one finds me." The comments are blowing up, neighbors tagging each other, people screen recording, everyone's got popcorn. What happened next was wild. The video made the rounds, someone sent it to the local paper, and within days the police were at Karen's door. Turns out my doorbell footage was just the tip of the iceberg. As the cops started poking around, people came forward with their own stories, fines that didn't match the records, cash payments that disappeared, threats of property liens that never existed. Whispering Pines was suddenly national news, our little HOA war making headlines as a cautionary tale of suburban power gone wrong. With Karen suspended, the board was in crisis mode, years of records to audit, neighbors demanding answers, trust in the gutter. Michael Chen, who just stepped in as interim president, asked for volunteers to help untangle the mess. I signed up partly because I was nosy, partly because I wanted to make sure no one like Karen ever pulled this kind of stunt again. That first week, we dug through boxes of paperwork in the clubhouse basement. What we found was worse than anyone guessed. Karen hadn't just forged a signature or two. She'd built her own shadow HOA, an entire secret system of fines, fees, and phony letters. More than $38,000 was missing from HOA accounts, vanished into a so-called maintenance fund only she controlled. Some neighbors paid hundreds for violations that never appeared in official records. Others got threatening letters about liens that, surprise, were never filed anywhere except in Karen's weird compliance binder. Sylvia, digging through one of the boxes, found a whole binder labeled "Special Cases" full of photos of everyone's house with handwritten notes like, "Watch for garbage can left after 10 a.m. or possible wreath color infraction." We laughed. What else can you do looking at your front door immortalized in Karen's handwriting? Once Michael reported it to the police, things moved fast. The district attorney added fraud and forgery charges to Karen's case. The HOA itself filed a civil suit to get the money back. Local news crews set up shop at the entrance to Whispering Pines, neighbors waving from their porches, some embarrassed, some gleeful. Suddenly, those HOA meetings weren't empty anymore. People were showing up, asking questions, volunteering for committees. For the first time in years, there was hope that things could actually change. In the end, Karen pled out, got probation, and had to pay restitution, though nobody really expected to see much of the money. The best part, her court-ordered community service there, she was one morning a few months later, orange vest poking at trash along the highway while half the town drove by. She saw me, paused for just a second, then turned away, pretending to focus on an empty McDonald's cup. And honestly, for a split second, I almost felt bad for her. She'd burned her own life down just trying to control a bunch of trash cans and mailboxes. But then I remembered that moment on my porch, her face lit up by the flame, whispering, "No one finds me. Oh, Karen, the whole world found you, and this time you couldn't just write a fine and make it all disappear." Whispering Pines finally got its peace back. No more 6 a.m. patrols, no more cryptic letters, no more fear that a misplaced hose would get you blacklisted from the block party. The air felt lighter. My wind chime sounded sweeter. The neighborhood felt like a community again, not a battleground. So let me ask you, where's the line between keeping order and turning into a tyrant? Does a little power really change people that much? Or was it always there, just waiting for a garden hose to set it off? Drop your thoughts down below. Have you ever dealt with someone like Karen? Or maybe you've been a little too passionate about mailbox paint yourself? Let's hear your stories, because trust me, someone out there is watching and maybe even taking notes. If you got a kick out of this story, or if you've got your own HOA war scars to share, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and let's keep this neighborhood watch going, one wild story at a time.